Hello, everybody, and thank you for stopping by. Uh, People who follow my channel know that I post a lot of content around digital technologies, around digital transformation, and how different companies across sectors, incumbents across sectors, are using technology to enable their transformation journey. However, this video is different. This shoot is different in a sense. I'm going to talk about the supply side of the equation, which means that how are companies or tech companies or system integrators, how are they strategizing and what kind of service offerings are they putting out to the market to enable clients to accelerate their digital transformation. So this video is based on my research of 10 companies, of which some are very big. These are typically the business models are system integrator models, which is people who actually put in computing systems, integrating hardware, software, network, and storage to deliver an impact to their clients. So we're going to talk about how the market is evolving and how the market is consolidating, if you may, and therefore in this kind of a consolidation phase of the IT services market, what should smaller players do to grow and thrive? What are certain response archetypes? And if you are a member of a smaller IT services company, do watch the video to the end. And if you like the content, where I'm going to talk about what you should do next. So that's why you need to watch it to the end. And generally, if you're a student of management, or an exec, like I request you to kind of share this content as you deem fit, share the video link or subscribe to my channel as you deem fit. And with that, let us kind of move into the presentation in itself. And here goes. So a system integrator is basically an IT services organization which integrates hardware, software, storage, and networks to deliver an impact, to deliver a transformation impact for its clients. So here we're going to talk about system integrators and how they are impacting and enabling digital transformation for their clients across the world. Now, the thing that I'm going to talk about in sequence is what are the strategic choices, and I'm going to talk about the relationship of the size of the firm and the choices that a particular size of the firm makes, their technology bets, and their operating models, which will give us an understanding of what we should be doing if we are in any of these categories. So here's what I have classified my research universe around global system integrators, tier one Indian companies. Tier one Indian companies I've put in TCS, Infosys, and Wipro. In the global SIs, talk about Capgemini and Accenture and Cognizant. In tier two, I'm only going to talk about Tech Mahindra, which is doing remarkably well in its own space. And also for smaller companies, I have chosen Zensar and Happiest Minds, both of whom I admire for different reasons. All that I'm going to talk about has been the content has been curated from annual reports, MD&A, investor calls, and these are available in the public domain, and also from some diagnostic interviews with leaders of these organizations. With that, let's move on. Now, when I'm going to talk about the first one, which is the large cap IT firms or the global system integrators, the strategic choices are enabling end-to-end transformation. So if you take Accenture at a 62 billion US dollar financial year 2022 revenue base, they are actually enabling the clients to go through what they call compressed transformation, which is bold programs on accelerated timelines and enabling total enterprise reinvention, which is basically broken down into three themes. One is building the digital core, which is on which you pivot to be a digital enterprise, optimize operations, which is the supply chain, the factories of the future, IoTization, and so on and so forth, and accelerate growth, which is digital products, omni-channel, multiple touch points, and how do you make your products more intelligent. So in a sense, it is covering the entire value chain through a process which is de-risk compressed transformation, where there are multiple parts of the organization which are getting transformed at the same time with minimum disruption to current business. Now, if you look at Capgemini, which is at a 21 billion euros, which is again a significantly big organization, they are making investments in digital cloud, data, AI, and are present across the entire value chain, from customer experience to design of new products and services and digitization and transformation of manufacturing and supply chain. Pretty much the same theme expressed differently than Accenture. Now, if you move on to an Indian, a global SI from India, which is Infosys, a favorite company of mine, they have moved on from being a classical IT outsourcer, which is responding to a set of RFPs and then the entire client budget being de-risked into multiple of, the entire work being driven by two or three top tier vendors. They're moving from being a classical IT outsourced vendor to a navigator of the digital future of their clients. And therefore, they are enabling their clients to move towards a more digital future, but not only understanding and embedding new technologies, but also ways of migrating from a complex legacy landscape and helping them pivot into the future through this process of navigation. The same thing is around the HCL Tech or Wipro, but in Wipro, we're going to talk about Wipro a bit differently because Wipro is transforming its delivery organization structurally and only has two global business units, which is integrated digital engineering and application services, that cloud infra, and thereby reducing the friction across multiple delivery verticals. So they are coming to the client as one unified behemoth, offering a range of services which is pretty unique at the scale that they operate on. Now, if you now go to a smaller player like Zensar, no, so let's before going to Zensar, let's talk about Tech Mahindra. Tech Mahindra's theme is Next Now, which is enabling revenue opportunities for clients by improving connected experiences across the customer lifecycle with an interplay of physical and digital strategies across channels. So, like an Accenture or a Capgemini would go end to end, which is from the revenue side of the equation to the cost side, which is the digital core, optimizing operations, and accelerating growth, all of these bundled in a compressed transformation. Tech Mahindra is actually saying that you don't only work at one side of the equation, which is enabling revenue opportunities of the client through Next Now. And Tech Mahindra is not a small organization. Its revenues are 2.2 billion US dollar for financial year 2022 and growing. So it is taking a strategic bet because it is difficult for them to compete and remain relevant across end to end in their life cycle, in the client's life cycle or in the client's technology spend. Similarly, if we go to Zensar, which is around about $570 million US dollar in their 22 revenues, its strategy is to conceptualize, build, and manage digital products by harnessing experience design, data engineering, and analytics. So what it's saying is it is totally premised on experience engineering, which is one theme that they have caught on to, and its strategic focus is therefore a lot narrower, and it's pivoting around experience services, which is products, experiences, research, advanced engineering services, which is digital engineering, application engineering, cloud transformation, and data engineering and analytics, which is AI, ML, automation, data visualization, and so on and so forth. Now, if you come to an even more smaller company, which is Happiest Minds, it is a remarkable company at $150 million, a newbie in the market. It is building, it is working against connectivity solutions on a horizontal technology and product engineering services, which is 40% of its revenue. So it's not going all over the place, being trying to be another outsourcer, but it is becoming a niche player, and it has found a set of reinforcing choices which makes it unique under certain verticals. So that's how they are growing, and they're growing very aggressively. Now, moving on to summarize that while all players are helping the digital transformation journey of their clients, but the bigger you are actually harvesting an innovation ecosystem, hyperscaler allowances, and doing an end-to-end transformation. And an end-to-end transformation enables you to take a broader bet around technology. Your client access enables consumer innovation, like TCS has different levels of customer innovation where they're doing joint innovation, enabling the client to adapt technologies much faster. However, if you're smaller, if you're smaller around a 500 million to even a $2 billion organization, they typically have two tier archetypes of response. Either they compete on themes where they have developed mastery, for instance, experience design, which is what Tech Mahindra or Zensar are doing, and then they bundle another other competencies around it, which is UX, UI, cloud, data lake, and data lifecycle management, and so on and so forth. or you compete on horizontal technology, which is connecting multiple devices, connectivity solutions, and doing product engineering around connectivity solutions. And then over a period of time, you gain mastery and create a market movement around what you're doing, and then grow as you wish, which is what to a certain extent Happiest Minds is doing with a huge amount of success. Now, to be able to do so, there is obviously a betting process, technology bets and then operating model which supports the technology bets. As I said, and it's the natural outcome of the discussions that we had a minute ago, the bigger you are, you take broader bets. For instance, Accenture is taking a year innovation bet of 3.4 billion across 38 acquisitions across markets, services, and priorities. Now, TCS as a company or Infosys is doing co-innovation by creating innovation centers near to the client, driving academia into the process and delivering curated experiences for the clients. So is Infosys creating those centers, and CTS, Cognizant, is actually creating centers of innovation around specific technologies, around IT, digital, data and cloud, and so on and so forth. Now, the moment you are smaller or a tier two company, then you take bets around theme or cross technology bets. The theme based and cross technology. For instance, experience design, which is how the client interacts with your consumer, or how the client or how the end consumer is interacting with the customer organization of these companies is the nature of experience. And our experiences can be omni-channel, multimodal, multilingual, and so on and so forth. So if you look at Tech Mahindra's investments, it is making huge investments around 5G or connectivity technologies, AI, ML, cybersecurity, and connected commerce and hyper personalization, which is actually enabling its customers to make their front ends better and better. So, unlike an Accenture or Infosys, it is not going around digital core, the front end, and also the operation. So, it is only enabling revenue acceleration of its clients, which is a smart move, and thereby carving a niche around itself. Similarly, if I take about the smaller player, and I did mention Happiest Mind, so Happiest Mind's capabilities are around mobile connectivity with other devices, right? And they are making the product smarter through a product platform engineering, which is 40% of the revenues. Again, another niche. So to sum it up all, the bigger you are, the broader is your bet, and therefore the scale economics enable you to get a higher share of your of the client's wallet. If you are smaller, and when I say small, it's around 2.2 billion, 2.5 billion, which is the range that Tech Mahindra and Zensar are together. It is cross technology, deep in domain, and giving a unique value proposition, which the broader players cannot deliver to the level of efficiency. So smaller you are, you take strategic picks and pick your battles either as one archetype, or you do a horizontalization of technology, which is something that Happiest Minds are doing. Right. Now, to be able to support this transformation, or to able to ensure that these bets kind of play out in the long term, companies like TCS or Wipro have changed their operating models. Now, what has TCS done? It has said that all clients are not similar in terms of their relationship maturity. So it has classified clients according to its relationship maturity, and saying that, okay, there are new relationships which go to a group called a relation. In the case of TCS, and we are discussing TCS right now, it's something called a relationship incubation group, where new relationships which require high touch handholding and a more bit of input to be able to take all the services of TCS is the relationship incubation group, which are the smaller clients which have a potential to grow. The second one is the enterprise growth, which is high growth relationship clients that are growing fast, and you need to put your best people, technology, and service lines in together, and therefore kind of grow the client to a level. So from a nascent relationship, you go to an enterprise growth relationship, and then there are the key accounts, which is the business transformation group, where you actually mature. These are mature relationships where TCS has been in place, and they are treated again differently in terms of the strategic bets, the new knowledge that they're giving in. So the point here is the organization at a $25 billion scale has actually transformed itself according to to the client maturity, and therefore their ability to deliver curated experience of the client is premised on the fact that if I'm taking a broad bet, then my share of wallet of the client's technology spend has to increase over a period of time. Now, this has a very, very significant impact on smaller and niche players, primarily because the unit economics of a large player, if they go across the board, is going to hurt the niche players unless they transform their model in the response. And let's kind of figure out how this plays out in the next couple of slides. Now, you had a bet for the future, and strategy is also about taking a bet. Right now, the bigger bet. So you have two basic ranges of bet. I take a diversified bet, focus on technology with defined use cases, and I can take a bet around connectivity, which is 5G, AR, VR, distributed ledger, and I can have all of these bets. Now, or I take a niche bet on a nation technology to gain acceleration in a particular domain which has a future. Now, these are the two boundary conditions on which there are, again, the principles are I take universal bets, which is majority of verticals adapting select technologies. For instance, unsupervised learning, autonomous analytics, other basic things which all companies would overall take, and then I take a bet, which is called a universal bet, or I take a cross vertical bet, which is I focus on deep learning or edge computing, and I use edge computing across multiple applications. Or the third, obviously, option is I take a very niche bet, which is natural. Say in this case, I take computer vision and natural language processing to create a recommendation engine for retail platforms, which enables assortment planning and so on and so forth, or sensor tech in assortment planning or in retail. Right now, the point is, if I am a smaller player, my ability to take a diversified bet is low because it is going to be very difficult for me to pull it off. Because when I'm taking a diversified bet, I will have to be able to deliver it to scale. And therefore, the scale economics for a smaller player doesn't work out. And therefore, there'll be this kind of management focus will be dissipated and so on and so forth. So if you're in the range of 100 to 200 million dollars, pick a cross vertical bet which works fine and it is based on your native technologies. Because if you're not going to do that, then you're going to kind of spread yourself so thin, and each of these places you're not going to get crumbs of the client's IT spend, because the bigger players are going for the jugular, the entire IT spend. Right. With that now, let's kind of look at the bigger learnings, the bigger picture, what are the implications with the Accentures of the world or the Cap Geminis going for compressed transformation or end-to-end transformation. The first impact is deepening and widening of services, including bundling of the GSIs are going to improve the unit economics to their advantage. So they're going to deliver more and more services at a lesser price. Hence, smaller players need to find what is called a performance peak, or something, or a bundle of choices which are unique for the client, which the bigger players cannot deliver. Now, this uniqueness can be in a particular region or a particular industry or a level of maturity of the client. What do you do differently that the big players can't? And you need to pick one or two such white spaces or sweet spots. Now, the other important thing is when I talk about strategy of a lot of IT players, the middle tier, they talk about a catch-all strategy, which is not a strategy actually. So you've got to make a reinforcing combination or a choice, which is pivot on a reinforcing combination of what you have and what you wish to build in the future, and they cannot be disjointed, right? So they need to understand what am I good on and what can I extend in the near future is the second most important thing. Like if you look at Tech Mahindra and Zensar, they're disjoint more. They actually are working on experience design, which is a revenue acceleration, and doing everything around it to enable revenue acceleration of their clients, which is making smart products, omni-channel experiences, customer touch points, data around it, and building the entire ecosystem very well to make them unique. So now that is a reinforcing combination, and it based on their current capabilities. The third important thing is your organization structure and operating model should clearly support the strategy and not be in divergence from it. You'll be surprised how many cases that it actually happens, right? Now, the point that I've tried to make that even in any industry where it is dominated by large players, there is always a place for smaller incumbents to compete. But the basis of competition cannot be replication of what the larger players are doing, in which case the chances of surviving is not going to be is going to be very, very low. So therefore, the ability to pick a white space and a performance peak premised on what you can do today or what your core capabilities are is a very, very important lesson for smaller players in the IT services market. The second important thing is that a lot of people, in the name of innovation, do happy engineering or hobby horsing, which kind of takes away focus on doing the basic things well and capturing the part of the market that you're most comfortable with your value proposition. So to sum it up all, if you're a smaller player in the IT services market, don't try to replicate what an Accenture or an Infosys or a Wipro or a TCS are doing. Pick a thing that you do well for a particular segment and drive the advantage. And as you are driving the advantage, make a cross industry bet and then expand it as you grow. So, in all your cases, the land and expand strategy works well as against spray and pray as a strategy. Hope you guys like this video. Do share, comment, and as you can understand that there is a lot of content which I try to compress in a 20 minutes video. If you have any questions or points of view that have not been addressed, do write in the comments section, and I will respond to you. Have a nice day and see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye.